Hey guys, welcome back to day number 8 of the Fit Chick Project. Now, today I have on a very special guest, and if you don't know him by now, well, you should. Today we've got on the one, the only Sam Dancer. Although this is a podcast for chicks, I wanted to bring Sam on because this dude is so unique, and we all have a lot that we can learn from this guy. He's not your standard work harder, brute force guy. When I think of Sam, one word and one word only comes to mind, and that is love. That's not your typical description for someone that looks like they just walked off the Mr. Olympia stage. Okay, Sam has learned how to cultivate an energy of balance and passion for fitness in a way that is so genuine and so sustainable that it just makes you wonder what he's doing right. In a world that glorifies doing more and working harder and suffering longer and praising that, we really need more people like Sam to show us why that's not as cool or as fun as it's drawn out to be, and how we can look fit and feel good by working smarter and not harder. How can we be fit and have fun? Like truly have fun, and not just saying that we're having fun. How can we live more and stress less? How can we feel more and count reps less and count macros less? How can we feel our way through this? This guy has figured out how to use fitness as an expression of his love rather than using fitness to define his value. But Sam wasn't always that way. He saw the obsessiveness and addictive behavior that other people had with training, and he intentionally decided that he didn't want that for himself. He wanted to be good at his sport, but he also wanted to feel good. He wanted to be competitive, but he also wanted balance in his life. He wanted to win, but he also wanted to have fun. Sam knew what he wanted, and he trained his way into being that way. He practices it on a daily basis, and today we get to learn all about how he does that. Some of my favorite words of wisdom around this interview were, one, his symptoms with overtraining, such as injuries, low testosterone, Hashimoto's. Two, his first steps to being easier on himself instead of following the path of all the other classic obsessive addicted fitness competitors. Number three, what his current training regimen looks like. Number four, how to know when the body needs a break. Number five, his edge to performing well without overtraining. Number six, his number one piece of advice to women out there who are always on the go and have a difficult time with giving themselves permission to chill out. You guys can follow his journey and his programming and connect with him using the links below in the comments below. And I hope you guys take away some really good nuggets from this show, and let me know what your biggest takeaways are. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So let's just talk about, first off, let's talk about your athletic history. Kind of where did that begin?
So I was always kind of a bigger guy. I was definitely gifted genetically. Well, I didn't get really, really big and strong until later in high school, but even as like a third grader or fourth grader, I was still, pretty dense and well built, and I wasn't as athletic as the other boys were. That didn't, like, my athleticism, I didn't start to like grow into that until later in high school. But I started to get really fascinated about like my muscles and growing them and becoming just bigger, stronger, and faster, mostly just so I could protect myself. I got bullied pretty ruthlessly my freshman and sophomore year in high school. And I figured if I could just get bigger and stronger, I would be able to beat these guys up, and nobody would bother me anymore. I never got into a fight. I've never been in a fight, and I plan on keeping it that way. But in my head, that was a big catalyst into me learning more about my body and taking kind of control over it so that I could eventually control situations so that people wouldn't beat me up anymore. So again, nothing ever happened really with that, but that's where it all started. I was a football player. I was a hockey player. I enjoyed basketball, I enjoyed soccer, but hockey and football were consumed most of my time throughout my teenage years, all the way up to college even. So, but mostly just football. I kind of stopped playing hockey pretty much in college, would still do it recreationally and did it with some club teams and such. But I was a football player. And I would say that's where a lot of my abilities that I have now are kind of lingering aspects of my football career. So I have a lot of residual like strength and athleticism from that. And I'm still gathering more skills and athletic abilities and such as I continue to age. But it all kind of started with football, and that was who I was until I was early 20s, and then I had to start kind of defining myself and figuring out who I actually was. So there was a big identity crisis. It wasn't a big identity crisis, but it was the first time in my life that I didn't have something to define and identify myself as or with, besides my name and where I was from and who my parents were.
When did that start? So was that in college then, or?
Yeah, so that I would say that awakening of figuring out who I was besides a football player happened post college. And yeah, to answer your question, that's where I got like some of my athleticism and or started to grow into it, I guess. And just coming into understanding my body a little bit more. That all happened with football early on. And this is another thing that kind of connects us and where we kind of intersected. I had a college coach who was big into West Side Barbell, and I started learning a lot about powerlifting pretty young too. I was like 14 years old when I started training. I had over a 700-pound back squat in college, and I could bench press 225 45 times.
Wow.
I weighed about 60 pounds heavier than what I weigh now. I was a very large man, big ball muscle. But I learned a lot about like getting muscles and getting big and getting strong and getting fast. But I didn't really learn about getting healthy until, well, the first book I read after, this is literally like one of the first books I've ever read in my life. Like I was a very negligent student. I was more interested in art and playing outside. So I did only what it took to get by in high school and college with academics, unless it was something that I was passionate about. And then I did pretty good. Toward the end of college, I went blind. So I wasn't able to just copy off people anymore. I actually had to start studying. I was a 2-year All-American after getting only C's and D's my entire life.
Literally blind?
I mean, obviously I'm here talking to you and I can see and I'm like operating a phone, but enough to where like I can't read something unless it's maybe like 2 inches away from my face. So you'll see me kind of get it, and I don't have corrective lenses or glasses or anything, so it's just kind of, it is what it is. But what I was getting at is I didn't read my first book until I graduated college, and it was How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. And that's really when the health journey started. So just because I looked good and I was strong and I could do some amazing feats physically, I don't know that I was truly healthy. Even once I learned about what health was, it still took me maybe and I still screw it up. So it'll be a lifelong science project, I'm sure. But it wasn't until after football that the idea of wellness even existed in my mind. So in regards to, maybe it was looking back at it now, there were things that are very small things, but at that time they were big things, like something like going gluten-free. Like I thought that was being healthy,
Yeah.
or like not drinking beer like every night and only on the weekends. Like, things like that were the beginning stages of me coming into what I thought was health and wellness. And I'm still on that journey today, but I got, I think like a lot of professional CrossFitters got kind of rattled by the adrenal fatigue and overtraining and such. But I learned that pretty early on in my career. And I had a pretty good and intelligent understanding of how to train and not burn myself out. But I kind of fell into the trap of seeing what other people are doing and thinking I needed to be doing more and more. But I had such a huge foundation for my background in strength and conditioning that like I really had no need to be doing a lot of the things that people were so overly doing because of the degree at which they wanted to be able to do those things. They were doing it so feverishly that I would just see that and think I needed to do that. But it didn't take long for me to figure out that I don't need to be doing what everyone else is doing, and came into a pretty balanced approach with my training and my I like to skate, I like to rollerblade, we like to camp, we love to travel. I think I messaged when I was talking to you about like this idea of balance and that being kind of a big thing that you want to share. I think I started to figure that out pretty early in my, I guess we say CrossFit career, pretty quickly after my collegiate career. So I still, and again, like I said, it's a lifelong journey. I'm still working on it. I love the analogy of a handstand hold. Like when sometimes a handstand hold is really easy for me. When I'm really focused, I'm dialed in, I'm practicing regularly, I can just pop up and hold it. But as soon as I kind of get away from it, it becomes much more challenging to maintain the balance, So but you have to keep kicking up, and you have to always be practicing. So like I keep saying, it'll be a lifelong practice and lifelong journey. But the more I practice, the better I get at just kicking up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So like the more you practice at and being aware of seeing what serves you and doesn't, like the better you get at creating balance is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And like, do you notice that when the harder you try at like kicking up on a handstand, the harder it actually gets? Like the more you try to like focus or like kind of have this resistance, like you're striving so hard.
Yeah, the more I do that, the more frustrated I get. So I try my best to be at ease as often as possible, and try not to get too resistant. And I thoroughly believe in staying in a positive state. So whenever I start to feel something kind of taking me out of that, and I'm getting maybe frustrated by the resistance or the difficulty, or me trying too hard or something like that, and not going kind of with the flow, if any of that makes sense.
That is exactly what I want to talk about.
Good. Cool.
That's the stuff I love, because that is what I've noticed is like, that's the key, man. I think there's so many people that are just trying to force the handstand and, force the diet, force the workout. And they, instead of really enjoying the journey, which when you enjoy it, it makes it fun and effortless.
Yeah.
And you flow.
Really, the reward is really in the journey. That's where people want things to happen too quickly, and they become obsessive and addicted. Yes. Like this, we take this very addictive personality or coping mechanism into if it's not CrossFit, it's into another thing. If it's not nutrition, it's into another thing. And Yeah, I think that can be problematic. So, yeah, but it's, gosh, it's hard to talk about it because I don't want to make it seem like I have it all figured out. Like I'm this some like enlightened dude that just has it all dialed in. Like,
Nobody's got it all figured out,
yeah,
you know?
it's like it will be a lifelong journey for me to. But that's what I'm after is, and I say this all the time too, I just routinely try to follow my passion, and even if it in the smallest moments of life, like I try to do things that make me happier, bring me more joy, are just a little bit more exciting. And I I just continually try to learn more and trying to find ways to clean it up, both for myself, both in my relationships, and just for instance, I'm trying to work on having zero waste. Like that's something I never could have even come close to thinking about like 7 years ago or 5 years ago or something like that. But it's something that I need to work on, and just continually try to find aspects of my life and my relationships and my community that I can work on, and just keep kind of working my way up. And I think it's really important for me to be doing work, to be eating clean, and to be getting good sleep. And so that's kind of like where my mindset is and what my focus is on. And so follow your passion, keep it clean, focus on your breath, get good sleep, and then just be present. And it kind of unravels very incredibly. Like it's like a dream coming true.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, just so that's kind of, I guess, where my philosophy is and things that I'm trying to do with my life. And but I always say fun at all costs, man. I really
Yeah.
truly believe that that's maybe it's a key part of going with the flow, man. Just like trying to remain positive and just be present and work hard, man.
Yeah, dude. It's perfect. And I 100% agree with that, but it took me 30 freaking years to learn it. And now I feel it, and it's like all I want to do is just feel good all the time, have fun. If anything like takes my attention and it brings some type of negativity, I want nothing to do with it. You know, a TV show or a newspaper or somebody talking gossip. It's just like I want nothing to do with it. But it took me so long to learn that. Like, so how did you, like, was there an aha moment that you just realized, like, this doesn't make sense to be just like crushing myself in order for you? Because I mean, to me, I was in a lot of pain, and that's what made me have this transition to open my eyes. So was there any type of like pivot point for you that?
Man, I still have aha moments, like, and awakenings, if you will, or areas of my life that I suffer in and not know that maybe I'm suffering. But yeah, there's definitely levels to that I've had that. And it's cool that you mentioned pain, because that often is what sparks like that awakening, is just like where you're tired of suffering. I was in a lot of pain after college just from playing collegiate football. And for the longest time, I thought the way that you dealt with pain was with painkillers. Like that was just, and that's what you don't really, I didn't really, honestly, I didn't know. Like I didn't freaking know when I was when I was early 20s, that I thought that was medicine. I thought that was medicine. Like I truly did. I thought, and most people I think that's medicine. And now food is medicine for me. Herbs are medicine. Like my mindset is medicine. And back then I thought that was medicine. So, you know, a big awakening happened, like with, I guess, I don't I don't need to train like a crazy person. And it's not like this idea of no pain, no gain in my training. So there's like awakening number one. And then awakening number like two would have been like, I don't need drugs, or I thought they were medicines to feel good. Like I thought that was, again, I thought it was medicine. Like, so I was using drugs. I was using pharmaceuticals to get up, to get down, to not feel. And I honestly, I thought it was okay for a while. And then, so when I stopped using drugs or medicine or prescription medications to feel a certain way, there was another, big awakening, and learning that I could do the same thing with food and sleep and herbs and mindset and such. So, those are just to name a few, and aha moments for me, and coming to that, like that awareness and yeah. So I think there's levels to it. And
Oh yeah.
it definitely, like I said, I started to figure a lot of that just because I punished myself so much in college, that like shortly after college, I was like, okay, I'm not punishing myself anymore. Like, and I'm done and all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I thought I was
Exactly.
done, and I wasn't fully done yet, because I
Yeah.
didn't understand all aspects of and areas of my life that I was punishing myself. And I'm still coming into that awareness. I still find myself getting into a little bitchy mood or some, and I'm not trying to say that it's not okay to feel those things, but you should feel the feelings for sure. But when you start holding on and punishing yourself with that stuff, it's not good. So still doing work, man.
Yeah. It's always, we're never, there's no destination is there, right? It's just, it doesn't, but we're constantly just improving. So I hear you on that. Okay. So this is really good stuff. So I'm curious, like, you said you were training like a crazy person, kind of like what we see a lot with CrossFit. How was that hard for you? Like, how did you know that you didn't need to train like a crazy person? Like, was it hard for you to let go of that mentality that you'd kind of been brought up with? I mean, especially
Again,
like
it didn't take me long, and again, certain areas, like I could, because again, I had such a huge foundation, like coming from collegiate football, and I did track and field. Like I could run, I could lift. I just needed to learn how to do double unders and muscle ups. And I needed to lose some weight. So, and I needed to work on my mobility. So I pretty close to like really almost right off the bat, I was doing the things that I needed to do. And a lot of people fall into that trap of thinking they need to do what other people doing. And so it was a lot of like accessory work and like mobilizing like my tissues and trying to like I needed to learn how to overhead squat, and I taught myself to snatch pretty quickly. Like the first time I snatched, it was actually with like Rich Froning and Dan Bailey in Ohio. It would have been 2013, a snatch ladder open workout. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I got to like 135 and was like, that's the heaviest I'd ever done. And had no clue what I was doing. And I think like I was failing some of those. And a couple of weeks later, I was snatching 315. So I was able, and I picked up the skills pretty quickly. So I wasn't having to really beat the hell out of myself. And then as I've just gotten older, so again, that I was pretty good about that early on in my career, not doing what everybody else was doing and training like a complete crazy man. I did kind of get that way with conditioning. I would, and it was to my demise too. So just, I guess, to show you that I've been working on this stuff throughout, and there's degrees to it. In 2016, I was running way too much. I got a stress fracture in my leg, and so I had to compete at the games with a fractured leg, and that was from, again, overtraining, overdoing it. I was running too much. I was doing too much. So, and I still kind of have, because I every year I love the science project of it. I want to maximize my physical performance. I want to do as much as I can do without breaking myself. And that's like a sick and twisted like goal of mine, I guess, is to perform at as high a level as possible without ending up with, a broken body part, some sort of autoimmune issue, or adrenal fatigue or something like that. So I really like that. Like, I love that part of getting older and constantly adjusting things and working on, how to be a race car without crashing and burning. So I really enjoy that, but I'm still like, I guess 2000, that was only 4 years ago. And I just gave you this speech about how, I came into that kind of understanding in my early 20s, let's say 10 years ago. But I overtrained and broke my leg and, only 4 years ago. So I still did it in ways, so, still learning. But every year I get better and better at learning how to dial it in. And I note things, and it is as hard as that is on the ego sometimes to crash and burn. I definitely learned from all my mistakes, and I've made a lot of them in my years, and I try to reduce the probability of ever making them again. So every time I make a mistake, I learn a little bit more and I get a little bit sharper. And with the sharper I'm getting, the less, not only probability has there been of me having a reoccurring mistake, but I become less frequently making any mistake, because I'm so intentionally doing things, and so consciously doing things. I'm not like floating around as aimlessly as I may have been in my earlier years. So I'm bringing what really kind of changed my life too. I don't know if someone famous actually said this, or if it was just Fraser that said it, or who said it. I heard somebody say it, and I honestly don't totally remember who said it, but it was like the concept of how you do anything is how you do everything. And that really hit me hard, because there was some dumb unconscious shit that I was doing, man. Like some little things, but like leaving lights on or something like that. Like, I just tried to become like create more consciousness in my life, have more awareness in my life, and be a professional in every aspect of my life, not just like health and wellness, but a more holistic approach to professionalism, and bringing that mindset into my relationships, bringing that mindset into maybe just where we source things, and what we put on our skin, and the thoughts that we have. And like I said, maybe like this, another recent one for me, like I stopped using plastic, like, just trying to make as conscious moves as possible in as many areas and aspects of my life, and keep expanding and learning and growing. And
Hey, really quick, did you guys know that you can steal all of my gym and diet secrets for just $47? It's crazy, right? Literally, I've compiled all of my best knowledge that's taken me over 10 years and way over $10,000 to learn. And I've packaged it in an easy to follow step-by-step process for less than the price of a canister of protein powder. My 90-day self-led online course takes you through the exact steps I took my one-on-one clients through, which, by the way, my success rate has never been so consistently high. It's a complete A to Z female diet, mindset, and workout system with over 50 training videos. And it literally has everything you need to create the body you love without giving up everything to have it. Simply go to www.fitchickacademy.com to get access. Now back to the show.
How do you know when you're riding that line of your, adrenal fatigue, burnout?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know when okay, wait a minute, I got to pull back?
Yeah. Your body has a language, like body language, and I believe that our body, and this, again, I had to learn some of these things by crashing and burning. So, and I don't think that you have to. I don't think that you have to crash and burn to learn these things, but it's a very subtle language. But it's spoken throughout your entire body. So I believe that the body is like this interfacing equipment that we have to communicate with our higher self or our soul. And so it communicates. It's quite incredible. Like, I'm learning even things now where I can look at my face and figure out maybe if how my kidneys are doing, or how my liver is doing, or how my gallbladder is doing. Or sometimes my knee will start aching, and I know, maybe it's something going on with my gallbladder. And then I can start assessing, is this I don't know if you're super familiar. Well, you got to speak with Emily a little bit. She's a big fan of like Taoist practices. So yin and yang.
Oh yeah.
Plus and minus. Do I need more of something or less of something is really what that equates to. So I constantly learning more and more ways of how the body speaks, and how we can use that diagnostically, and to be in a constant dialogue with, whether it's our body, our soul, whatever, to treat it the way we want, so that we don't take it too far, because there are physical limits to what the body's chemically capable of doing. There might not be limits to what you can do in your imagination, which is, I think that's really, really important to have a kind of a limitless imagination, but understand that there are some rules and some laws in physical reality. And that's a way that you can learn to not overdo it, is start learning how the body speaks. And it does it a number of ways, and they're very, very subtle things. Actually, they're not all subtle. Some of them can be literally in your face, like I'm talking about, right? Like, you can literally look at your face in a mirror and be able to start having communion with your body, and being able to have awareness and understanding for what's going on internally, so that you can make the necessary adjustments to return back to homeostasis, so this optimized version of your physical self.
So great, dude. And one thing that really struck me was when you said, okay, the body has limits, the mind does not. And when I was in CrossFit, I basically pretty much brainwashed myself into thinking that like my body could handle anything, right? Like, and I just listened to all the no pain, no gain, like type of motivational videos. And I quickly learned that the body does have limits.
Yeah.
And I had to literally learn and train myself to listen to the body rather than just stuffing it down, right? So that's something that has to be trained. How do you train that language? Like, how did you start? Because we're all just like, so go, go, go. So we really have to turn that off, right? So we can actually hear it. How did you start training that?
Well, like I said, I I didn't listen to the soft, subtle language early on. It took shouting to get my attention. You're like, yo, we're trying to talk to you over here. You know, break a leg. Yo, we're trying to talk to you over here. Hashimoto's. Trying to talk to you over here. You have no testosterone. At one point in my life, Jenny had more testosterone than I had. It took some it took some health crises to wake me up and start paying attention to the subtle languages that my body speaks to me, and learning and a big mistake that I was making for the longest time, because pain is kind of it's like one of the loudest languages you have, and I was shutting that off with painkillers. You know, early, or this is a long time ago, but still something that I was doing. I just didn't have that understanding yet. So, you know, don't cut yourself off from these ways of communicating with your body. So if your knee hurts, like, don't take ibuprofen. Figure out why the knee hurts. And that might, at the most basic fundamental level, require you to be still. All right. You might not know how to do it with exercise. You might not know how to do it with your mind yet. You might not know how to do it with herbs or acupuncture, but at the most basic level, it's telling you need to be still for a second. And it's in that stillness that you can actually hear the subtle language that the body speaks. So when you have a pain, even if you don't know how to remedy it, at the most basic level, it's asking you to slow down and stop and, hey, listen to me. And if you settle down for a second, and I recently told someone, I'm not sure if you're familiar with EFT, emotional freedom techniques. I think this is a terrific way to start a dialogue with yourself. It's a great way to calm yourself down in moments of, like, you know, maybe it's pain, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's some sort of depression or ache or whatever, but it's a way for you to, like, start talking to yourself and doing the detective work, and to figure out why something is happening. But being okay with it in the moment. And then, you know, start to do the work to figure out why something is bothering you, and figuring out if it's, do I need more of something or less of something? So be still, and everyone you don't have to go spend a bunch of money on getting these credentials or taking these classes or doing these workshops. Like, we are all equipped with all the intelligence that we need, man. And sure, it's nice and helpful when someone guides you and shows you, but I can't recommend enough to somebody to just, in a moment of any sort of pain and anguish, like whether it's mental, you know, you're just like, you're depressed or anything like that, be present and shut up. Just shut your mouth for a second and shut your chattery brain up. Just shut the F up and listen for a little bit. And it's amazing what you can figure out in those moments of being quiet. Maybe some people call that meditation. It's really just, it's shutting up and listening and being still for just a second in life. But like you said, we're all so addicted to go all the time that it can be difficult to make that a habit. And sometimes the body literally will break itself so that you will listen.
Yeah. And you know, it's tough. You know, I that's one of the things I have my clients do is, like, you know what, 5 minutes, we got, or no, you know what, I start them off with walking, just going for a walk, dude. And they're like freaking out that they have to go for a walk instead of doing a workout. And so and women tend to be a little bit, I feel like, a little bit more high strung. But
Yeah, they're
I mean, even
multitaskers because
yeah,
they have the capabilities of doing multiple things at once. Dudes don't. We're like one
yeah,
thing at a time, and it's literally like part of our, you know, part of our makeup too. Like you ladies have your
you're
bandwidth is
crazy.
much greater than the males is, and that's just like that's a scientific fact too. So, and you guys are like I don't remember the exact statistic on this, but women are it's upwards of 75%. So it's really big. It's over 75 percent more likely to not call off to or like to like men are that more likely to not show up for work because of a sickness or an ail like
Mm,
something or a pain or
yeah.
something like that. Women are way less likely to take time off for themselves. They're and this is like another like 70% one, and someone could definitely fact check, and I could be a little bit off, but the whole point of these numbers were basically supporting that women are far more likely to get sick and get autoimmune issues and
Yeah.
because of their go ness. Again, that they're like you're physically equipped with it.
Hmm.
So it makes sense why women would more frequently run into those issues than guys do. So it's just yeah, you're equipped with that. So it's definitely very very necessary for you ladies to to manage that. And
Hmm.
it's been great watching Jenny really learn a lot about that recently with growing a baby. And it's been cool because growing a baby is really similar to growing muscles. Um, so, and you have to recover to grow muscles. So,
Hmm.
and you have to take some time off and you have to have recovery days and you got to get good sleep and you got to eat well. And so,
Hmm.
it's been really cool watching her continue to work on that, but also take what she's learned from high level competing and training into growing a child
Hmm. Yeah.
stuff.
Super cool. And yeah, that's so great to hear that from you know, like just sometimes just hearing it from kind of like I think a man's perspective, that's you witness that too, you know, that
Mm.
it's not just kind of in our heads. Like, no, it's, you know, it's yeah, we tend to be just more, you know, like that, a little bit more you know, go, go, go.
Yeah, and it is literally, it's not a figurative speech in your head. It's not in your head that way. It's
Yeah.
literally in your head. You're
Yeah.
wired. You
Yeah.
are wired to
It
be
feels like that.
badass mamas.
Yeah.
Like it's what you're designed to be. Like you are truly equipped with it. Like on a
Yeah.
physiological level, on a biological level to even have the abilities to do that. You just have to learn to rein it in and yeah, it is really cool that I get to witness it
Yeah.
and watch my wife who is like one of, if anyone who's listening knows my wife, she is one of the most intense people I have ever met in my life.
Huh.
And she is she is go do everything. She runs like 3 companies. She started her own non-for-profit, and so like that's like another company that's like 4. She manages me, that's like 5. And she cleans and she does laundry and and yes, and but that's what I love. Again, the yin and the yang. I love
Hmm.
these pluses or minuses. That's where I come in too, and I'm able to help balance her out, and she's able to help balance me out. Sometimes it's, hey, get up
Hmm.
off your ass, and sometimes I tell her like, hey, sit down,
Hmm.
like you need to rest.
Hmm.
So uh, we we are like the epitome of yin and yang, man. Like um, we are 2 opposites that support one another, and it's great in business too, because she's always over here and I'm always over here, and we end up having to meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are two forces of nature, and we get at it, man. Like, and we stand our, I'm a plus and she is a minus, or vice versa, and it we end up finding the middle, and it takes a lot of work, but it's fun.
That's awesome, dude. I can't wait to have her on. Like, it sounds like we could learn a lot from her. So since we're getting close to the end, I do kind of want to talk about what's important to you now. Like, what are you any sort of athletic goals? I know you're about to be a dad. So what's kind of the next thing for you?
It's been quite a pleasure. My values really haven't changed much in the past few years. I really enjoy the way that I train, so I don't train any differently. Whether I have sanctional or something in a month, than how I do. I do take full time off. Like, so after the CrossFit Games every year, whether I compete or not, I take full time off for upwards of 3 months. So, and I still have a practice. It looks a lot more like just kind of stretching, some yoga. I love working on my handstands. But I'm not touching any barbells or anything like that, or doing any crazy gymnastics again, other than my handstands. So a lot of yoga, a lot of handstand stuff. And no conditioning, no weightlifting. But then after that, and we'll travel a lot during that time. That's like full-time travel time and such. But then when I am training, I train for an hour a day, and I warm up really well, and I do some accessory work, and I do some sort of training or conditioning piece, and I cool down. I do my breath work. I do breath work before I work out. So things don't really change for me too much in regards to how I train. I plan on always competing, as long as I can be competitive. So as long as I can qualify for things still, and be able to hang with the top people in the sport, I'll continue doing that, and until I can't. And it's cool to see that every year, or not every year, up until this point, I'm still able to be competitive, and which is great, because I really enjoy doing that. I kind of got a little taste of jiu-jitsu. I really enjoy that. So I foresee whenever it happens that maybe I'm no longer able to be competitive in CrossFit, I might go start playing over there with those guys. But I'll always do something, so that'll never change. I train to feel good, and when that should have an asterisk next to it, because I still like, again, I like to feel good, but again, still be race car ready.
Yeah, that's tough, dude, because
it is. It's a lot of breath. It is a shit load of breath work. I can literally be, I'm not kidding you, I've got it dialed in. Like, I train the way I always train. 2 weeks out from a competition, I do about an extra half an hour of breath work a day. And then I add a couple little things extra into my, like, I'll actually snatch with a bar, and I'll clean and jerk heavy with a bar about 2 weeks out, just to get a taste of that again and be ready for it. But I'm telling you, it's been all breath work for me, and I've been doing that for the past 3 years now, where I'll just, like, normal training, I'm not doing anything. I do what our class, like what I program for our class is the training that I use, our general fitness class. And then 2 weeks out from a competition, I start doing my breath work, and I try to snatch up to like 90% at least once each week. And I try to clean and jerk up to not literally. So I'll hit 2 heavy lifts before competition. My training stays the same. I'll do a lot of breath work, and I'm ready to go. And when I learned that I could do that, like, that was a game changer for me. It was a huge, like, really, it blew my mind. Like, some of the best performing I've had, I was outperforming what I would have been able to do when I was like 24, 25. And when I learned that, it was pretty neat. And it was hard to kind of trust that, like, just doing breath, like, it bothered Jenny. She was like, don't you need to go, like, run or lift some weights? And it would be getting really close to competition. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to do breath work, and tested that out, and it worked.
Yeah.
Like, amazingly. So I guess a long answer to the fitness goals, if you will. Fitness won't really change for me. I train to feel good. And I plan on I wanted to compete individually this year. With the COVID thing, obviously that sets a lot of things back. Like, I might not very well be competing for a long time, and that could be the same for a lot of other people as well. So I may in the meantime might go do some jiu-jitsu stuff, because, like, UFC people are getting to fight. So I think culturally, like, things might still be kind of happening in that space, just because it's one-on-one and it's not 100 athletes. 100 athletes or 40 athletes or 20 athletes out at once. I don't really know how people are going to standardize it all in terms of what people are going to do with competing or whatnot. So who knows? I might go over there, but because people might not be competing in CrossFit for a year, 2, who knows? Like, I don't know what's going to go on with all this COVID stuff. So either way, none of that's really changing for me. My values are pretty much stay the same across the board, with, like, nutrition and like I said, the breath work, and I like sharing this. Jenny and I do F off Friday, so we try to eat really clean Monday through Friday, and then Friday evening we F off and we go get some pizza and, like, some ice cream treats and stuff, and then
That's awesome.
Then we try to reel it back in. So we've been doing that for a really long time.
That's good. That's a good balance.
Yeah, we're really routine with our sleep. Like, we go to bed on time every night. We wake up at the same time pretty much every day, and we don't screw around on our cell phones. We've been actually bad recently. We started watching a show, and we rarely watch. I don't know if you watch.
What show?
Sense8.
Sense8?
Yeah.
I don't know that one. Okay.
Dude, it's so good.
Okay.
This is my, like, 3rd time. It was the people who wrote The Matrix.
Okay.
The people who wrote that did a couple season, like, over 24 episode show called Sense8 that's pretty thought provoking, just like The Matrix is. So but yeah, man, that's kind of like, those are my plans. I continue trying to eat well, feel good. We have a van that we live out of part-time that we really enjoy traveling in. I will continue doing that. We're starting a podcast. I've been like very slowly working on that. I did record an episode. Jenny and I are planning on recording again together maybe this weekend. What else we kind of got going on? Our gym is opening back up in like a week and a half. So that's really cool. We're excited about that. Culturally here, like, I set the tone and the cadence really, like, as soon as I could tell there was, like, some fear creeping in with this COVID stuff going on. Like, I laid the law down, and I armed our members too with some truth, man, so that they weren't fearful of all this stuff, and that we were going to not take it lightly, and play as preventatively as possible. So we were armed with knowledge, and we prepared for the worst, but we stayed hopeful for the best, and we kept a very hopeful mindset and positive mindset. We've been meeting regularly, having outdoor workouts. Like, people, this is really going to piss some people off, but I really don't care. We still hug, we high five. Like, we are only as strong as our community. And I have a badass community of people, a badass culture of people uh, at Q Town Fitness, and we are truly a family. And it's cool to see that people aren't afraid, and they're able to they trust in us too. Like, and they trust like, we devote our lives to wellness, to the health and wellness, man. So they trust like what we're giving them, and they can they trust it too, because we embody it. Like, we are living truth, and they see us doing the work, and we do the research, and we do it passionately and resiliently, educating ourselves with how to stay healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so with that being said, like, they aren't afraid. Like there's some things I shouldn't rattle off just because maybe we're not fully abiding by the law, but there's people everywhere there's like law officials who aren't, following the law. I don't know if you saw this video. It was awesome.
Honestly,
this police officer came up to, like, he was acting as if he was going to cite a big crowd of people at a gym, for fear they were under some sort of violation. They shouldn't have had that many people there, something like that. And he's like, with that being said, have a good day, but like, we don't wear effing mask. Like, we don't wear gloves. Like, we are healthy. We believe in our wellness. Like,
the mindset is strong.
And statistically, it's showing too that for like 99.999% of people, this is, and like most of us, it seems like we've already had it, but we didn't even know it. Like, we were asymptomatic.
Yeah.
Like, our immune systems were, and that's not just for our people in our town and in our gym. That's worldwide. Like, worldwide, 99.99% of people, like, are good, show no problems with this. Like, their immune system handles it with grace. And like, most people are asymptomatic, and we're just, again, we're armed with knowledge, and we don't watch TV. We don't watch the mainstream media and news. Like, we do our own research and our own work. And I also don't listen to the news for nutrition advice. I don't listen to the news for how I should train. I don't listen to the news for how I should think. Like, so if you're getting your information from the news and you call that research, like, bitch, please, like, for real. Like, and I'm a living, walking embodiment of my research and my studies and my truth. Like, so like, we're good over here.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it, dude. It's awesome. I think we need more people like you, and going against the virus of fear. I think that is the worst thing to be getting into your head, is fearing everything. So you're such a great leader, dude. Last question: what's the one thing that you think that you would recommend women can do to start turning off that obsessive addictive behavior, and start expanding into that consciousness? Like, what's one thing that they could start doing today?
Wow, man.
Real quick.
And I'm glad you asked, because even though I'm not a woman, I definitely try to have as much balance in my life. And that means, understanding the feminine. And because that, even though I am a man in body, like, our souls, for instance, have both masculine and feminine energy. And like, so just, at least, just because I'm not a woman, just, ladies, don't blow me off completely yet. Because I am passionate about the feminine, the divine feminine energy that is inside of me. And I use my knowledge and understanding of feminine characteristics to help keep balance. And so I don't do too much masculine shit and get myself into a crash and burn incident in some aspect or area of my life. So there's my little preface. Ladies, don't blow me off just because I'm a dude. But the stillness is huge, man. And listen, and in that stillness, it's when you can run a quick diagnostic and you can listen to your body. Emily Abbott is incredibly passionate about this. She talks about, ladies, like painful periods, like, and like that doesn't have to be a thing. Like, listen. And she says this too, like, trust in your pussy. Like, listen to your body. Listen to your body. It has a language. It is speaking to you. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to start by being still. And it's in that stillness that you're going to be able to start getting those messages. And then all you need to do is you need to take action, and know that taking action sometimes it doesn't mean movement all the time. And it doesn't mean go, go, go. And sometimes you need to take action on hitting the stop button.
Right. Means no action.
So kind of trick yourself into like taking action on the stillness. You're so go, 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 like get you some of that. And just, be still, listen to your body, listen to your private parts. If you have pain in any capacity, it's your body telling you need to slow it down, lady, and listen to me for a second. And if you listen, you're going to get the answers, and all you need to do is follow through. So awesome, that's what dude. I have.
That's such a great talk. Thank you so much, Sam. Where can people find more of you? Where can they follow your journey?
Yeah, I'm not great at being super active on Instagram. I do my best to respond to people. I do Q&As every once in a while, and that's when I kind of will dedicate some time to actually responding to people and having a presence on social media. But usually I just like to post pictures of things I'm doing and things that I enjoy, which oftentimes seem to not really be things that other people are excited about, and I'm okay with that. But sometimes I still like to get on there and try to, it is a way of being social, and it is a way of connecting with people. And I as much as I like being present in actual 3D reality with other people, the cyber space is still a space where you can be social. I do it every once in a while. So Instagram is pretty much the only place that to stay in contact with me virtually. So, and like I said, I do my best to get on and reply and stuff, but don't get your feelings hurt if I miss it or something like that. So, but I tend to update things on there too. So whenever our podcast comes out, I'll make an Instagram post, and whenever we're traveling, I make posts. And if we have any events or anything going on, I make posts. So check it out on Instagram. It's Sam Dancing. And
Cool. Awesome, Sam. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with anybody, like any sort of programs that you run, or anything you want to promote?
I own a gym called Q-Town Fitness, and recently, because of this the Corona thing, we've had to switch a lot of our business onto online, like doing some online stuff. And for the first time ever, we're offering at-home programming. I've really enjoyed it. We love doing it. We take a lot of pride in how we program, and we believe it to be a sustainable program, not something that needs to be periodized, but something that can be a legitimate 1 hour practice that you could do every single day and not kill yourself. But things that we do things that I believe all people need. Whether when I write the program, I always ask myself, is this good for me as a professional athlete, and is this good for my mother, a 60-year-old non-athletic mommy? So I think of that intentionally when I'm writing. And so if anyone ever wants any help and needs guidance with, I don't know if that's conflicting with what you offer, but
No, you're good. We're
you
all
know,
we're spreading the love here, dude.
yeah, man. So it's coach at Qtown Fitness. So if you ever have any health related wellness related questions, or you want to get started with some sort of programming, or you need any sort of consultation with nutrition, most of our focus is our gym. I don't really do I don't have a huge online business where I program for people, and like I do program for people, but they're here in Quincy, Illinois. Like those are my clients. But if you ever need any help with anything holistically, with your nutrition, with the way that you move, with relationships, with communication, with your sleeping, anything, we just want to help people feel better. So
Awesome.
if you need help feeling better, we believe that we can help you. And we're Qtown Fitness, man. So you can find that on Instagram too, and that's got all our information on it. So Nat, I love you dearly. Thank you for allowing me this time to share with you. And I hope that you get some time to spend with Jenny, because she's
oh, for sure. We'll definitely be hitting her up. We gotta see how she manages all the things. So thanks so much, Sam. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yep.
And we will see you guys in the next interview.
Yep. See you, girlfriend. Thank you.
See you, dude.